Hello everyone, and welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars, the cozy corner where the glitter of Turkish show business is examined with a soft light and a steady heartbeat. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you always arrive first when the whispers turn into waves. Breathe in, because today's tale moves quietly, but it presses on the chest like thunder that hasn't yet cracked the sky. It's a triangle drawn not by scandal, but by silence. Small pauses, rearranged invitations, and the kind of restraint that says more than confessions ever could. Over recent weeks, somewhere between makeup trailers, night shoots, and messages sent at odd hours, a rumor matured into something that feels like a warning. It wraps around Sinem Ünsal, a former partner whose name floats almost never spoken, and Ozan Akbaba, an actor who has ruled headlines and hearts with a calm that seems unshakable. The spark behind the murmur? A persistent worry, discreet yet stubborn, the chance that her ex, low profile, nearly invisible by choice, might end up in the same frame as Ozan and stir up pieces of a past Sinem carefully dusted and stored away. The past is like fine powder, even when you've cleaned it off the shelves, one careless breath, and it dances in the air again. In their circle, shared spaces are like embers that never cool. The same sets. Overlapping social groups. Obligatory functions where RSVP lists feel like covert strategies. What looks like a casual dinner becomes a labyrinth of arrivals and exits. Premieres turn into timing puzzles. Birthdays, once simple, now demand tactical questions. Who's going? Who's staying? When is he walking in? When will she slip out? What if a photographer catches the wrong two people in the same frame? Those close to Sinem say she doesn't tremble at the thought of what has already happened. She worries about how it can be remixed in the present. All eyes have lingered a little longer on her growing closeness with Ozan, a bond that hasn't been stamped with a label but has its own language, light smiles, careful glances, a steadiness that feels chosen rather than improvised. She fears a single careless sentence, born from nostalgia or nerves, might be spun into a whole script by commentators who never run out of ink. And Ozan? He stays loyal to the same compass. Work first. Keep your head down. Don't feed the noise. Friends echo it as if reading from the same card. He lives on set hours, scripts, rehearsals, and the quiet in between. He doesn't battle in the comment sections, he doesn't compose long explanations. That stillness charms many and frustrates plenty, because the quieter he is, the faster the theories multiply. Every pause becomes a possibility. Every blank space, a message. Then there's the ex mysterious by choice, locked behind doors that rarely open. He's described as decent, cautious, candid in private, and disciplined in public. He doesn't want to stir old fires, doesn't want to step into a spotlight that was never his comfort zone. Yet pain, even the healed kind, carries echoes. That residue is the ghost that follows them to each event. An accidental reunion, a shared table, a mutual friend's celebration, each scenario holds a thin hum, almost soundless, but heavy enough to shift a mood. Inside the industry, it feels like waiting for a summer storm, warm air, thick sky, hush before the rain. Studio corridors know this feeling. Dressing rooms too. Even the private group chats read like meteorological reports. And Sinem, always neat in her public ease, is extra precise these days. She wants no chapter from yesterday to bend the light shining on what she and Ozan are building. Slowly, respectfully, away from fireworks, yet undeniable in how they look at each other when they think the cameras are tired of looking back. Meanwhile, timelines behave like magnifying glasses. An old photo that someone dredges up becomes a thesis. A missing like is branded a clue. An interview answer too balanced, too safe? Suspicion. This audience has learned to read silence as if it's a handwritten letter. They pin meaning to pauses, underline hesitations, and decorate them with interpretations that sprout like ivy. What we don't see is the dance behind the curtain. Invitations accepted and then quietly declined. Schedules reshaped. Seating charts redrawn at midnight. It's a choreography made of caution, a few steps back here, one sidestep there. Ozan's team stays steady, unflustered, unfailingly professional. Sinem's circle moves with the grace of people who know both kindness and boundaries. The ex, for his part, avoids the trap of becoming a headline, he knows how a casual remark, overheard and recycled, can harden into a headline that never leaves. From the outside, this looks like a cinematic slow burn. From the inside, it's a meditation on timing. Sinem knows what it costs to turn everything into a spectacle. She doesn't fear the truth, she fears the edits, the way a single moment ripped from context can be made to sit beside a rumor and call it proof. She's been there. She has learned how quickly empathy dissolves when clicks are hungry. Ozan's consistency holds the line. He's the metronome of this composition, steady, composed, infuriatingly calm to those who prefer fireworks. He doesn't add embers to the gossip fire. He doesn't subtract attention with dramatic refusals either. He simply gives the same answer with his choices: focus, work, and let the performance speak. Yet even that can be read a dozen ways. Is it restraint, or distance? Resolve, or a velvet curtain pulled over something fragile? There are whispers of a near miss at a rap party. A subtle reshuffle at a charity gala that placed certain names on opposite sides of the hall. A press line adjusted so cameras couldn't read too much from a proximity that never happened. Calm choices, not panicked ones. But in a world where meaning is often assigned before it's found, small acts take on oversized interpretations. And then there's the question everyone repeats in private, as if saying it out loud too clearly might make it arrive sooner: how long can this quiet hold? The first glance at the wrong moment, the wrong phone held at the right angle, a smile mistaken for a signal, it doesn't take much. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe there will be only a polite greeting, two people who understand that history doesn't have to become a headline. Or perhaps it will be what so many secretly await. A moment they can slow down, crop, loop, and name. Until then, the plot feeds on the negative space, the unsent messages, the choices that read like whispers. And it keeps people glued to screens, listening for a sound that may never come. What fascinates here isn't a scandal, it's the possibility of one. The way discretion can feel louder than confession when the audience leans in. Sinem's supporters say she has earned the right to step lightly. They see her steady posture, the way she protects the contours of her privacy, and they applaud. They want gentleness for her. They want the new chapter with Ozan to be allowed to breathe without the past waving for attention. They know how tenderness can be drowned by noise that doesn't belong to it. Those who admire Ozan highlight the same trait over and over: patience. They praise his refusal to turn relationship shadows into a stage act. This refusal can be mistaken for indifference by those who want drama, but there's a dignity to it, a hush that speaks to the parts of us that believe in building things without narrating every nail. As for the ex, he remains where he always chose to be, on the far edge of the frame. Distance can be its own form of care. Yet proximity isn't only physical, it's emotional, and that's the risk in rooms shared by memory. People who know him insist he wants no trouble. But Old Ache is a haunting artist. It paints even when no one commissions it, and it leaves color where you thought only gray could live. One story drifts through circles with the confidence of a rumor that thinks it's truth. It speaks of a production office where two schedules nearly overlapped, of a decision made in a breath: shift a call time, take a different entrance, swap a car. The choice wasn't fear, it was foresight. Why invite a coincidence that would immediately sprout 1,000 meanings? Another anecdote paints a different scene: Sinem at a quiet table, laughing at something Ozan said, the laughter small and sincere. A phone lifts in the next booth, not out of malice, just habit, and suddenly the private becomes a public guess. Are they together? Are they defining this? Are they pretending not to be? The questions were louder than the laughter that sparked them. If this were a script, someone might demand a hard turn, a declaration, an outburst, a confrontation anyone could summarize in 15 seconds. But real life often refuses good television. Real people measure their steps when the floor remembers every footprint. And for now, their steps are patient, deliberate, and unmistakably their own. Will the silence hold? Perhaps. There is a kind of bravery in refusing to be rushed. There's also a risk in allowing others to complete your silences with their own words. That's the tightrope they walk: protect what's fragile by offering it shade, or protect it by stepping into the sun and letting it harden in the light. Neither choice is a guarantee, only a gamble taken with hope. In the studios, the crew goes about their work as if nothing is fragile, and then, carefully, as if everything is. Lights go up. Marks are hit. Scenes are built and broken down. In the middle of all this motion, two people try to create a space that doesn't need applause to exist. And just outside that space, a third figure, respectful but present, is a reminder that time doesn't simply pass, it leaves fingerprints. So here we are, once more, holding our breath with the rest of the city that spins on screens. A romance drawn in fine lines. A former chapter turning the page without tearing it out. An actor who keeps his answers quiet and another who guards her softness like a treasure you only share with the right hands. Nothing explosive. Nothing cheap. Just tension you can feel even in the stillness. What do you think? Is Sinem right to brace for what she can't predict? Is Ozan's measured quiet a kind of wisdom, or a velvet way to sidestep a storm that might be coming whether invited or not? Tell me in the comments how you see it, because this is one of those tales that grow richer when we read it together. Like the video, send it to the friend who never misses a detail, and remember, here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, every murmur has a heartbeat, and every heartbeat hides a story. Until next time.